10 abandoned ghost towns that will make you shiver. Horror films are usually inspired by things that happen in real life, but if you think I'm bluffing, stay with me for the next 10 minutes or so as we take you on a wild virtual tour of the 10 most abandoned ghost towns that will make you shiver uncontrollably. These towns have been left to decay for various reasons, starting from plague infection to nuclear attacks. You will be shocked at close to half of them. But before we begin, kindly subscribe to our channel for more of our amazing content. Give us a like, share the video, and don't forget to turn on the notification bell for timely updates of our latest uploads. Let's get it on! Number 1. Lucin, Utah, United States. Lucin is an abandoned town along the railway line in Utah in the United States. It was founded in the late 19th century about a mile north of its current location to provide a cooling stop for railroads to replenish their steam-driven locomotives. After a short route was built across the Greater Salt Lake to help save time and avoid traveling an extra 40 miles, Lucin was abandoned and its occupants moved to the current location known as Lucin Cutoff. Nowadays, the area is managed for migrating songbirds and other wildlife by the Utah Division Resources. As of today, what remains in the town includes a pond fed by a pipe that brings water from the nearby Pilot Range, a group of trees in an otherwise barren desert, and various everyday items left by the former residents. There are no remaining buildings, but there is evidence of early settlements by the presence of root cellars and 2 concrete phone booths. Number 2. Fordland, Brazil. In 1927, Henry Ford began working at Fordland, a giant rubber plantation in the Tapajós Forest, Brazil. The automotive engineer needed the city as a permanent source of rubber for car tires and inner tubes. He also saw it as an opportunity to bring the American value to the small town within the Amazon. Having created a city like Dearborn, Michigan, he designed a corporate city complete with swimming pools, golf courses, country-style bungalows, and weekly dance floors. It was a modern town by the standards of those days. Unfortunately for ambitious Ford, his expectations failed from the very start. Fordland rubber trees fell victim of leaf fungus, and the staff could not survive under the strict regulations imposed by him as the boss, including a ban on alcohol. Clashes between Brazilian workers and American managers soon became a common trend. During one of the riots sparked by strict cafeteria rules, the workers destroyed most structures and pushed the town's trucks into the river. The $20 million workers' paradise eventually sank after a series of endless tragedies. Having never visited the city himself, Ford finally sold it to the Brazilian government in 1945 for a few pennies. Today, the wilderness has reclaimed large portions of Fordland's town, but many of its buildings are still standing, and the city has become a tourist destination for curiosity seekers. Number 3. Hashima Island, Japan. Inasmuch as Hashima was one of the most densely populated places on the planet, today, the island is a vacant labyrinth of crumbling concrete, seawalls, and deserted buildings. The small island off the coast of Nagasaki started in 1887 as a coal mining colony. It was later purchased by Mitsubishi, who built some of the world's first multi-story reinforced concrete buildings to house its bursting population. Hashima remained a busy town for a couple of decades, especially during the Second World War when the Japanese forced thousands of Korean laborers and Chinese nationals to toil in its mines. By the 1950s, the 16-acre rock was packed to the gills with more than 5,200 residents. However, when the riches from the mines got depleted, its cramped conditions became more unlivable. The city was promptly abandoned after the mine closed in 1974. After more than 40 years of abandonment, Hashima is today a dilapidated ruin of collapsed staircases and condemned apartments. Many of its high-rises are still filled with old televisions and other relics from the mid-20th century, and its once teeming swimming pools, barbershops, and school classrooms now sit in confusion. The island was officially opened to tourists in 2009. Number 4. Pripyat, Ukraine. Pripyat City lies in the inner exclusion zone around Chernobyl, which is a hotspot of persistently high levels of radiation, which brings no hope for any form of settlement in the city in the near future. On the 26th of April 1986, A catastrophic meltdown at the Soviet nuclear power plant in Chernobyl sent flames and radioactive materials soaring into the skies over Pripyat, which was the town housing the plant's workers. It took 2 days before the town's 50,000 residents would be evacuated to safety grounds. Many would later suffer severe health effects as a result of their brief exposure to the dangerous radiations. After an 18-mile exclusion zone was sealed around Chernobyl by the Soviet authorities covering Pripyat, the town remains abandoned to date. After almost 3 decades, the buildings of the town have decayed and become partially reclaimed by the elements, and wild animals now roam through what were once bustling apartments, sports complexes, and an amusement park. In the town post office, hundreds of letters from 1986 still sit waiting to be mailed. Number 5. Oradour-sur-Glane, France. In the noon hours of the 10th of June 1944, the village of Oradour-sur-Glane was the scene of one of the worst massacres in the world's history, in what is believed to have been an act of payback for the town's supposed support of the French resistance during World War II. A Nazi's Waffen-SS detachment rounded up the city and murdered over 1,000 civilians and burned most of their houses to the ground. However, the number was reported to be 642, as other bodies could not be accounted for. The men were taken to barns and gunned down, as the women and children were locked in a church and killed with explosives and incendiary grenades. A handful of people managed to survive after playing dead and later fleeing into the forests. After the end of the war, the then French President Charles de Gaulle ordered that the burned-out ruins be left untouched as a monument of remembering the victims. Today, the site hosts a museum which holds a collection of relics and mementos recovered from the rubble. Old brick buildings and charred storefronts still stand acute, as well as graveyards, rusted cars, bicycles, scattered sewing machines, and unused trucks. Number 6. Bodie, California. Bodie was a gold mining town from the late 1800s in the Sierra Nevada mountain ranges in California. The town was officially founded in 1876 after miners stumbled upon fatty deposits of gold and silver in its hilly region. After the exhaustion of the gold mines, the harsh freezing winters convinced many of the town dwellers to move to more financially profitable areas until the 1940s, when the last town occupants also shipped out. Since then, Bodie has been one of the most well-preserved ghost towns. An old ore mill that belonged to the Standard Company is today a landmark in this town. Its 200 ramshackle buildings are kept in a state of arrested decay by park rangers, and tourists flock to the site to explore an 1880s Methodist church still standing, saloons, post office, as well as the ruins of a burnt-out bank vault. Number 7. Varosha, Cyprus. History tells us that the sandy beaches of Varosha, Cyprus was one of the most popular millionaires' playgrounds in the Mediterranean. The beach was a thriving economy and popular celebrity spot back in the day, one of them being celebrated actress Elizabeth Taylor, who was a frequent visitor to one of the high-class beachfront hotels there. However, hell broke loose in 1974 when Turkey invaded Cyprus and occupied its northern part in response to a Greek nationalist-led coup. Frustrated with the endless fighting, more than 15,000 residents fled the town, leaving their valuables and sources of livelihoods behind. Due to the ever-growing political tensions, Varosha has been under tight security enhanced by a heavily guarded barrier. The few people who have visited the town describes it as wholly abandoned. Trees have grown through the floors of restaurants and homes, and most properties have been looted or destroyed. Number 8. Ordos Kangbash, China. One of the biggest ghost cities in the world, and the largest in China, was built to be a modern city with state-of-the-art architecture, large stadiums, and gorgeous public spaces. It's called Ordos Kangbash. The city took less than 10 years to achieve what it intended to look like, but unfortunately it never attracted people as expected. Out of the 300,000 people that it was built to house, only a mere 60,000 moved in. After its failed mission, businesses didn't do well, and as a result, construction stopped. Within no time, the city went bankrupt, and most occupants fled. Today, the town is a ghost town with most of its first-class amenities sitting idle. Number 9. Centralia, Pennsylvania. The state government of Pennsylvania condemned Centralia in 1992 after a continuous coal fire that had been burning under the town since 1962. The underground fire, which is said will burn even for the next 200 years, was lit in regrettable attempts to clean up the local landfill. Like something out of a horror movie, the underground fires eventually made locals flee their homes. It's characterized by sinkholes and massive carbon monoxide release. In 1992, it was condemned by the government and marked as a no-go zone. Old buildings are still present to date. A century ago, Centralia was a busy small town filled with shops, residents, and a brisk mining business. Coal from local mines fueled its homes and its economy, and its 1,200 residents worked, played, and lived as tight-knit neighbors. Today couldn't be more different. Centralia's streets are abandoned, most of its buildings are gone, and smoke wafts down graffiti-strewn highways where a prosperous town once stood. The formerly busy burg is turned into a ghost town. The cause was still happening beneath Centralia's empty streets, a mining fire that has been burning for over 50 years, resulting in the devastation of a community and the eviction and impoverishment of many of its residents. Number 10. Wittenoom, Australia. Having been founded in 1946, Wittenoom rose as a mining town in Western Australia. By around the 1950s, it had grown to be the largest town in the Pilbara region. The grounds were rich in asbestos, which by then was a crucial raw building material. After the decline on the demand of asbestos and also growing health concerns of the workers, the mines were closed in 1966. After its closure, residents relocated to other places in search of opportunities. In 2007, the Australian government closed the former mining town and surprisingly removed it from all its official maps. Due to the mining that took place there, asbestos fibers are still found in the topsoil and even in the air around the town, making it a dangerous place to stay. According to a documentary released in 2019, there is one person who stays in Wittenoom against all the odds. Now, authorities are concerned that curious tourists and thrill seekers are returning to the outback town of Wittenoom. The former mining town is officially classified as a contaminated site. Thousands of its former residents and visitors have died from asbestos exposure. Road signs warn people against visiting the town, but otherwise ignore them. Did you enjoy our video? Which ghost town would you love to see revived, and why? Well, if you enjoyed our video, be sure to subscribe to our channel for more of such informative content. Please give us a like, share the video, and don't forget to turn on the notification button. Your feedback matters to us. Feel free to share your thoughts with us in the comment section below.